Welcome everyone to this theater session. I was told to speak loud, so I'll do my best to project all the way to the back there. We're not a big group, but so if you want to move up, you can also do that. So this session is about productivity for developers working on Azure data. And my name is Omid, and I'm here with Jose and Piero. We're going to walk you through a couple of things in this 20 minutes we have together. So as you all know, Microsoft is a very developer-centric company. We have our roots in developer stuff. Something people often don't know is in the area of Azure data, whether it's SQL data or it's especially big data. We also have a fair amount of investment in tooling and things we provide for people. So we wanted to give you a little bit of an overview of what that looks like, and then dive more into some of our new stuff around Azure Synapse and Spark tooling and so on. So just to get us going, helping developers that work with data in Azure, we can kind of look at it in two slices. One is by language frameworks. So in the big data space, which is where we come from, currently Spark is very hot, and Spark development, especially with Java and Scala and so on, is where people are going. So we have a set of tools and plugins for that. Traditionally, of course, SQL has been a big surface for data development and continues to be that way. So we have tooling around that. And then there's other big data languages that are supported in Azure, like USQL and ADLA or SAQL. So you can kind of find tools by language framework. You can also look at it from tooling surfaces. And of course, something we announced at this conference was Azure Synapse Analytics. And there's a new surface with that called the Studio, which is a web-based or portal-based experience for development. So we're going to look at that in more detail. But we also do a lot of investment on IDEs. So if you're using Visual Studio or VS Code or even IntelliJ, you can find some good tools for working with data projects. And of course, we always support SDKs and command line interfaces. That's sort of the bread and butter of making you productive for developing with data. So just as a bit of a background of how we think about the developer's day or developer's sort of core work, especially in the area of big data, because big data is a little bit more complicated. It's generally you're running your code on a cluster, you're running in the cloud on some kind of distributed environment. So we think about an inner loop of authoring, running, and fixing code. And we think about sort of the specific experiences you need to enable that. And again, whether it's on SQL data warehouse or it's on a Spark cluster, there's some specific requirements around being able to both run these workloads, this code that you're developing in the final environment, in the final sort of distributed platform, but also be able to run it locally and be able to debug and find out what's going on your local machine. And we sort of place that inner loop within a bigger outer loop where discovering data and finding the kind of data that you're going to start developing against is on the one end of the outer loop, and on the other is the CI/CD, the sort of the enterprise requirement for being able to deploy and publish code and manage environments. So I put this up because this is kind of the underlying concept that we use to develop the capabilities in the different tools. So whether you're going to our Azure SDK for IntelliJ, or you're going to the ADLA plugin for Visual Studio, or even if you're going to Azure Synapse Analytics Studio, you'll find similar scenarios being enabled in similar ways. And that's meant to help you work more quickly, more efficiently if you have to switch tools or if you're working across different kinds of environments. So in this session, we're going to take a look at Azure Synapse Analytics, and we're also going to see a lot in the Studio and how Spark works. If we get time at the end, we might look at the IntelliJ Spark environment, but we might not get to that in this one. So just very briefly, Azure Synapse Analytics, in case you haven't caught any of the other sessions, this is about a limitless analytics service that has very quick time to insight. You can do very fast queries on very large data sets. And also, it removes this kind of false dichotomy between data warehouses versus data lakes. It says data warehouse and data lake are really part of the same data estate. They can work together. And it's really, that makes it the evolution of the data warehouse. And there's also a bunch of other things in there that you'll see as we go. Things like on-demand SQL and things like a very cool studio for you to use when developing with it. So the sort of as a background of what does Azure Synapse Analytics look like, it's I can do this. There we go. So it's basically a container, a platform piece, and a data lake piece. So at the bottom we have the data lake storage, which already exists. We don't make you move your data around. You can keep using your data lake that you've already placed data in or landing data in. And in the platform, we provide things like core capabilities around management, around security, monitoring, and so on. But very importantly, we also bring in this data integration layer, leveraging Azure Data Factory and data movement to help you bring data, ingest data into your workspaces, and also to integrate it across the SQL and file system and structured streams and semi-structured streams and so on. And we let you have different analytics runtimes, so especially or specifically T-SQL and Spark are the core ones that we're starting with. And as I mentioned, you have different form factor choices. You can have pre-provisioned clusters or pools where work is done and that pool is always available, or you can do on-demand for bursted workload or for serverless kind of queries. And for this discussion, important is the various languages. So T-SQL, of course, is fundamental, but more and more we're seeing people, of course, using Python and Java and Scala in the world of Spark. So all of these are capabilities that you have in the Azure Synapse Analytics environment as well. And then, of course, as I mentioned, there's the experience layer, this Azure Studio, Azure Synapse Studio and Workspace, which you're going to see in a moment. So I think that's probably good enough background on the Azure Synapse Analytics and what it is. So I'm going to hand it over to Jose, and he's going to give us a quick look at the actual tool.
Thank you very much, Omid. Hi, everyone. So I'd like to talk about how Synapse, it's one of the first really human-centered design products that we have in the data space. Now, what do I mean by this? We did not only talk to our customers to understand how they currently work with data, how they get insights from all these different data sources, but even in the way we are building and architecting our experiences here, help us align to those existing mental models that exist today that you are familiar with. Now, what am I referring to? Let me walk you through. In the way we are architecting our navigation, we are using these mental models to separate the key areas by specific tasks. For example, in here, I have an area where I can start exploring my data. And in this data hub, we have data-related objects or representations of data, like my databases, data sets, or even the lake and the storage account that I use to start exploring and analyzing my data. On the Develop Hub, we have all the artifacts that you and your team can use to start getting these insights, namely things like the SQL scripts, notebooks, and all the things that you can see here. The other hub that we have is the Orchestrate Hub, where we have all the pipelines that help you schedule and in a regular cadence repeat all these different processes and analyses. We also have collateral things like the Monitoring Hub, where you can see the status across all these different resources that you're working on, and the Manage Hub, where you can configure permissions, link services, and a few other things. Now, as I talk about leveraging on these existing models, one of the big challenges that we had that we really tried to solve well was how do we present all these different concepts together in a way that makes sense and make it more intuitive and easy to start using the separate concepts. Let me go directly into the databases. As Omid mentioned, as we bring the capabilities together, we're going to have these objects to start exploring together. And that's what we aim to do. As you can see here in the Database Explorer, we pretty much put together a couple of different things. We have the traditional database that comes in a data warehouse, or as we call it now, the SQL pool, that has the existing familiarity. If you've ever worked before with SSMS, Azure Data Studio, or even Visual Studio data tools, where you can start looking at the contents in your data warehouse and have those familiar actions, like you traditionally right-click and do select top 1000. We're bringing that here. We're minimizing the amount of things you need to learn how to do. Now, the other interesting thing is that as we bring new technology like SQL on demand, we're also representing the SQL on demand objects here as well, like the tables. And in this case, I can show you, for example, my external table. we have the same gestures that I can start clicking, and I'll go into them into just a moment. And finally, which is one of the ones I'm most excited about, Spark databases. If you've ever worked with big data and you've wanted to push that into the relational space, we're also bringing this concept together. That way, you can think about your data as something that you can operate consistently across different technologies, SQL or Spark, in an intuitive way. Pierre is going to drive you a little bit more into how that also looks from the lake perspective in a few moments. But now, let's also drive down into one more thing. As I was saying, we're bringing all these things together, right? It's not just wiring things up on the background so that they work and play nicely together, but also on the UI. So as I was mentioning, if you traditionally do the right click and then do select up 1000, we're pushing that model even further by also giving you the ability to not only have the SQL scripts that are familiar for you, but also things like notebooks. And this is how we start bridging those gaps and bringing all the silos together, just from our UI as well. So for example, in this context, I can say load to data frame. And in this case, I'll get a notebook that starts showing all the different code that you can start generating. In this case, I think my connection might be a little bit spotty, so I'll move on to a separate thing. Same thing happens when you do in Spark database or Spark table. I have the same consistent actions where, for example, just again bringing from the Spark world, I can also start operating on the same actions for SQL. Yeah, seems like my connection is a little bit spotty. Anyways. Now, the other thing that you can start considering as well is the artifacts, right? Just as I was showing you the different nodes that you have on the Data Explorer, you can start creating the artifacts from here as well. So one of our principles was get the inessential out of the way. Once I start exploring my data, we've noticed that in some cases when you're exploring the data, you generally don't tend to save many things, right? In SSMS, you will do select up 1000, start running your queries, and then drop all the things that you want out. So at that point, we're hiding on things that we don't use that much, from your view, that way you can just focus on exploring your data without having to worry about showing additional things in the UI and letting you use the entire frame. Now, I'm going to hand it off to my colleague Piero, that's going to help you walk through exploring the lake and great capabilities that we have in the notebooks.
Switched. Thank you, Jose. Thank you, Omid. Hi, everyone. Can you hear me? Yes? Good. Thank you. Okay, so let's drill down into, I mean, you heard a lot about Azure Synapse and how make it easy for developers, to explore both the lake and the warehouses, and also how it creates a one pane of glass for developers that want to use Spark and SQL. So let's drill down a little bit into that, So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a little exercise. So we have an open data set. So if you're not familiar, you can go and look for Azure open data sets. There's a lot of machine learning exercise that we have developed with real data. So we are going to basically first, let's go and look at how easy it is. I have created my workspace with just few clicks. And I have a workspace. I haven't provisioned any instance of anything, so I'm not paying any money. But I have my lake connected to my workspace. So after 5 minutes, I can just, actually after 2 minutes, I can just go and browse my data in the lake, and I can see that I have a bunch of Parquet files. I'm going to click in one of the folder, and I have a lot of Parquet files. I mean, in the old days, you have to do a lot of data manipulation. We are talking about large data sets. Here, let me just go and say, okay, let me open these in SQL because I'm a SQL guy, and I can just run using a query as a service, which is like the SQL on demand, and then I will see that in the span of a few seconds, I can already look at the data in all these files, So then I go and explore the data. I can do my export. I can do my chart. But I see, hey, I need to do some sort of data transformation. My chart doesn't give me the insights, So I'll go and do my next step. So let me see what gesture I can do, for instance. I can go and look at my data in the notebook. So I can just right-click, and without any credential, so just with my initial AAD authentication, I'm getting all the data that I want, and I can look at analyze into Spark. Now I have a notebook already here ready to run, and I'm going to basically analyze the data sets. This is an exercise where I have done my sort of data transformation, and I just want to load the data directly into the warehouse. So this is really the power of SQL and Spark together. So you have a Spark notebook, on a Scala, and I'm writing into a SQL table, just running the notebook. And I'm just going to hit run all, and I will see also how the notebook experience is making also the user. I don't know how many of you are familiar with Jupyter, standard Jupyter, you know. It's not that easy to understand which cell I'm running and things like this. You know, here we are also building some sort of a monitoring experience inside the, the notebook itself, you know. So I can see that I have my data visualization, and then my last step is writing into SQL directly. So here it tells me it's still running. Yeah, let's give a couple of seconds. But so I have loaded already. This is another way of seeing the one single pane of glass, because I think here I have my storage account. You can see my storage account, and here I have my SQL pool. So here I wrote this this basically notebook right directly into a SQL pool, and I can see here what is the schema and all the details of what I've been writing. So with a simple, like Jose pointed out, with a single top select 1,000 row, I can go there and I can now have my query, and then actually I can I can then do the visualization. I have a query already built, which is just adding a order by, and then remember how was the visualization here? It was like pretty flat, you know. But then after my transformation, I have fun charts. So I'm just going to analyze the market share of the for-hire vehicles in New York City versus the yellow cab, and I can see that the for-hire vehicles, you know, they are going up, and then the yellow cab is kind of going down, which is what we expected. But then more, I have this nice visualization. I want to actually integrate it directly with Power BI, and I've done this before. But basically in Power BI, so inside Azure Synapse, you can actually go and publish your data sets built before, and then you can have the same visualization, and then you publish to Power BI, and basically you are good to go for your analysis. So this is a little bit like a little exercise to explain a little bit, you know, the one pane of glass for SQL and Spark. I've done this in a few minutes, and literally, I mean, of course, this is a lot of stuff is pre-built, but it's really fast and doesn't require a lot of, you know, entering key and then, you know, connecting to other services. It's all in one. I've done this all in the studio. The last part that I wanted to show is that, you know, for people more familiar with the data science world, I'm not going to run through this, but, you know, there's a lot of deep integration with Azure Machine Learning. So this is another sample that they are available in the open data sets. I mean, it's the same data sets, but it's a machine learning notebook. And then, so basically, we have very strong we can import very nice packages, and then we can do some visualization. And then, so this is a notebook that is available as a documentation. If you are interested, you know, we have a lab this afternoon at 4:30 around that time. So we are going to be able to do all of that inside the lab, and each one of the participants can do that, you know. So this is an example on how we build a model to basically understand what is the probability of a driver, you know, to receive a tip from the passenger based on many different variables. And then in the end, this model generates a result, which is the ROC, and give us a chart, which is very close to 1. So it means that the model is pretty good. I think that's it from my hand. Thank you very much, everyone. And then if you want to have an hands-on experience on this, you can join the lab this afternoon.
Yeah, and you can also find us over at the Azure Synapse booth, which is just in the Microsoft section. So if you want to talk more about Spark development, you want to see our IntelliJ tools, if you're interested in some of the other developer experiences we have, or even talk about SQL stuff, we're happy to come have a chat with you. So thank you very much for joining us in this theater session.